she's getting kind of independent woman now. There's literally an attitude of I don't need you guys anymore.
Hello and welcome to Happily Ever Reality. I am so glad you're here. In today's video, I'm just going to be going through some of the stuff that's happening over on Patreon with the Brown kids, really just Mykelti and Gwen, but that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Let's go ahead and get started. Over on Gwendolyn's Patreon account, she does commentary for the full episode of Sister Wives, but she also does these really great Q&As. She puts those at the end of the commentary. That's my favorite part of her channel, and I always skip ahead to the Q&As. For episode 12, she answered a question about how Kody refers to his kids differently. You know, viewers of the show have caught on to the fact that Kody calls Christine's children Christine's kids, and then Janelle's children Janelle's kids. But Robin's kids, well, they're not called Robin's kids. It's their kids. So we know he refers to them differently. So Gwendolyn addressed that. She said it wasn't really a big deal because it was just a way to distinguish the children. So it's not a big deal to her. She says that when he says their kids, though, it's clear that he has a preference. So I just thought that was really interesting because fans of the show, that's something that people get really heated about. Like, people get upset that he says their kids when he's talking about Robin's kids, but then Christine's kids. So it's clearly more of a big deal for fans of the show than it is Gwendolyn. I also wonder if we hadn't been having all of the issues like the last 2 or 3 seasons, you know, would have the kids even noticed? I think fans have really been pointing it out and pointing out the differences in how he treats the kids. I wonder if the children would have noticed that he used different language for Robin's kids and then Christine and Janelle's children. I wonder if that's something that was noticeable to them or if fans have just been really pointing to all those things that he does differently. Do you all remember when Kody said this?
She's proving that she's the independent woman now by telling me how the best way to pack this is.
Of course you remember. I also put a clip at the beginning of this video of another occasion where Kody Brown uses that phrase, independent woman, when talking about Christine. This is just classic Kody. This is what makes him so annoying. But during one of the Q&As, Gwen was asked about it. Someone said, what do you think about this talk of patriarchy and the manosphere and women being obedient and mocking independent women and how women should respect men? Basically, how do you feel about your father being a massive misogynist? Gwendolyn says she's glad this sort of thinking isn't inherited, so she doesn't feel this way. She doesn't agree with her father. She mentions that he was raised this way, it was in his upbringing, and that she thinks he does it because it benefits him. You know, it continues to benefit him, so why would he change his way of thinking? And you know what? She's right. If you think about it, Kody Brown literally was on TLC for being a polygamist and having this way of thinking, of being a misogynist. He really wanted to be the leader of the family. He wanted to be the captain, as Robin said it. It was successful for him in the end. It's not really successful. It doesn't really work, but I bet to Kody it did. I bet when he got this show and the show continued to go on, he thought he had made it and his way of thinking was right. And it also, I'm sure, you know, we all know about Kody's ego. It's huge. This guy thinks so highly of himself, and having multiple wives or multiple women want to spend time with him just adds to that. So in multiple ways, this seems to benefit Kody, even if the rest of the world doesn't think so. Someone submitted a question about if Kody is holding himself accountable and apologizing for the things he does, or does he still blame everyone else for everything that has went wrong? And Gwendolyn says that he has apologized for things, but it's never like, you know, a real apology. It's, I forgive you, can you forgive me? So that's not really an apology. That doesn't surprise me. You know, we've seen in the show before, it's incredibly difficult for Kody to hold himself accountable or apologize for anything. So it just seems like nothing has really changed. But Gwendolyn said he has done that, where it's I forgive you and you forgive me. But she says it seems like he still blames everyone else. He doesn't see this being his fault at all. Again, that's just classic Kody Brown. It sounds like nothing has really changed for him. I'm sure you all remember this.
Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it. It means
This is
a lot.
fun. It's bittersweet, but it's nice that like we're all here and we can all be here together.
Yes, that very awful get well gathering, farewell funeral. It was so painful to watch. During the episode 11 Q&A, someone asked if it was the producers or McKelty that made that happen. Like, who was really behind it? Gwendolyn doesn't for sure have an answer. She says it's a great question, but she says that this seems like something McKelty would want. Gwendolyn said that she is glad she wasn't there. And I'm like, I think every person there wished they weren't there. It was so horrible. But yeah, it sounds like it was possibly very much a McKelty decision and not something pushed by the producers. Though, of course, I do just want to be clear. Gwendolyn didn't say she knew for sure. But it sounds like something McKelty would want to do. There ends up being a question about Truly and Kody's relationship. You know, Kody had told her, you know, we can still Zoom, call each other, and talk to each other on the phone, but Kody made no effort to see her when they were living near each other. Here's a clip of him telling her that.
I love you. Have a good trip, okay? All right? Your phone has video chat, and you and I can video chat. Okay? All right?
So does Truly see the issue there? Does she see the discrepancy in what he's saying? And Gwendolyn, it's interesting. Her response is basically like, probably not, because he casts aside all of the other children except for Robin's. She doesn't say that, but it's written on the screen because she's saying he casts aside, you know, mom's kids, so Christine's kids, but then she wrote on the screen, really everyone except Robin's kids. So Truly probably doesn't even realize there's an issue because that's just how he's always treated them. And that just goes back to what I said earlier. Without this show, would have they realized that the way their dad was being, the way he was acting, you know, it wasn't right, that there were so many issues in their family? I just wonder if this show had never happened, would they know at all that this dynamic is really weird to most of the world? She also talks about how even though she lives in Flagstaff, she does not see Robin or Robin's children. She had invited them to her engagement party, but they chose not to come. Gwendolyn excuses it by saying, maybe I'm not a safe person. And if I'm not a safe person, you know, I understand that they wouldn't want to come. But I really feel like that's ridiculous. This is family. If Kody is really trying to work on things with them, you know what? He should have encouraged Robin and the girls to go to the engagement party. So to me, this is just another example of these kids excusing their dad's behavior, you know, because it's their dad and they love him, and then excusing what's supposed to be one of their other mother's behavior because they don't want to cause issues. Robin and the girls should have been at the engagement party, or the whole family, Kody too. I don't know how that, you know, I don't know what sort of engagement party it was, but they should have been there. But I think these kids are just so used to it and they don't want to cause issues. So they'll, you know, make up excuses and sort of tiptoe around their dad's bad behavior, but they should have been there. Robin should have came to that engagement party she was invited to, and so should have Robin's girls. As a matter of fact, you know what? The girls could have came even if Robin was uncomfortable with it. Maybe Robin was like, I don't want to go be around Christine. Couldn't the girls go hang out with their siblings? Make up an excuse for mom. Mom's under the weather. It seems like there shouldn't be issues between the siblings. Someone asked a question about why does it seem like sometimes there's COVID restrictions and, you know, sometimes there aren't any COVID restrictions. At their goodbye gathering, the only person that could hug Truly was Kody.
Only me, okay? All right, we'll see you, sweetheart. I love you.
But then earlier, you know, we had seen McKelty and Tony visiting them, and they sat next to each other. Like, why is it okay sometimes and why is it okay other times? And she basically said exactly what all of us have been thinking. Kody just has double standards and he gets what he wants. So whatever works for him and whatever he wants, that is what he gets. I don't think that surprises any of us. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little chit chat with everybody and make a video because I feel like I haven't been making as many as I'd like to make. I haven't been able to sit down and watch shows, like anything, just even as enjoyment. Forget, you know, making a video about it. Just I haven't had a lot of time, but I am always happy to make videos and read your guys' comments. So please tell me what you think about all of this information or anything else. Go ahead and leave a comment. If you haven't already, please click like and subscribe, and I hope you come back to Happily Ever Reality. Oh, and just in spite of Kody, I'm going to leave you this.
I think it's super important to be independent as a plural wife.